The piercing wail of Lily's glucose monitor sliced through the pre-dawn silence of our Seattle home, a sound that could jolt me from the deepest sleep. It was 5:45 a.m. on a chilly October morning in 2024, and my heart was already pounding. That wasn't the gentle nudge of a routine alert. It was the desperate cry of a low blood sugar emergency. I was out of bed before my brain caught up, bare feet hitting the cold hardwood as I bolted down the hall, snatching glucose tablets from the kitchen counter mid-stride. "Lily," I called, my voice tight with urgency. My 16-year-old daughter had been wrestling with type 1 diabetes since she was 7, a relentless shadow that haunted her every step. I burst into her room to find her propped up in bed, trembling, her face pale as moonlight, fingers fumbling with her phone's monitor app. "Dad, I'm at 58, she mumbled, her words slurring, lips faintly blue. Still dropping. I slid 3 tablets in her hand. "Swallow these. Deep breaths, sit up. We've got this." She nodded weakly, gulping them down like they were her only tether to life. For nearly a decade, diabetes had been our uninvited guest, lurking through birthdays, exams, and quiet nights, never relenting. By 6:10, her levels stabilized enough for her to stand, though she moved with the quiet resilience of someone who'd stared down mortality too often to be shaken. "I'll wait outside for Mia," she said, grabbing her testing kit and a protein bar. "Still feel shaky, need to keep checking." I kissed her forehead. "Text me if anything changes." She stepped onto our front porch, her silhouette framed by the misty glow of a street lamp. I didn't know it then, but that fragile moment of calm was the last we'd taste before hell broke loose. The air was crisp, the neighborhood still cloaked in early fog, when a voice shattered the quiet. "Get away from my gate, you little addict." It wasn't a question, it was a battle cry. I froze, coffee mug halfway to my lips, peering through the kitchen window. There was Patricia Langston, our neighborhood's self-crowned queen, storming across her lawn in a velvet robe and stilettos, her fingers stabbing the air like a dagger. She was 5 feet 6 inches of pure malice, targeting Lily, who sat on our porch steps, focused on her glucose monitor, oblivious to the approaching storm. "Answer me. What's in that device? Drugs? Syringes?" Patricia's voice climbed, venomous and unhinged. I slammed the mug down and charged for the door, flinging it open so hard it rattled the frame. "Patricia!" I barked, planting myself between her and Lily. "Back off. My daughter's on our property, minding her business." Patricia sneered, arms crossed. "She's lurking, always out here at odd hours, tapping that phone like she's dealing. I've seen her with needles." My jaw clenched so tight I felt my teeth grind. "Those are insulin pens," I growled. "She's a type 1 diabetic. That device keeps her alive." Patricia scoffed, eyes narrowing. "Please, that's a junkie's excuse. She's not sick scheming." Lily looked up, her face pale, voice trembling. "I'm just waiting for my ride." Patricia cut her off. "Save it. I've called child services before. This street isn't your rehab." Something snapped inside me, a dark, primal fury. I stepped closer, voice low. "Touch my kid, and you'll need more than your HOA badge to save you." She smirked. "We'll see." Then it happened faster than a heartbeat. Patricia lunged, her hand cracking across Lily's face with a sickening slap that echoed through the fog. Lily's head whipped sideways, her body twisting, hips slamming into the porch's concrete edge. She crumpled, glasses skidding across the wood, a trickle of blood blooming from her temple. "Patricia!" I roared, my voice raw with rage, but she didn't flinch. She pointed at Lily, eyes blazing with twisted triumph. "That's what dealers get. Public shame. You're lucky I didn't call the news." I rushed to Lily, her body shaking, breath shallow, one hand clutching her glucose tablets, the other reaching for her insulin, pump the same pump Patricia now stalked toward. "Don't touch it," I warned, voice lethal. She ignored me, raising her stiletto and smashing it down on the pump. Plastic cracked, tubing snapped, pieces scattering like shrapnel. "No more lies," she hissed. "I'm cleaning up this street." For 3 seconds I was stone. Then I was fire. I surged forward, grabbing her wrist as she swung for Lily's testing kit, twisting it until she yelped. Her stiletto slipped off, her foot sinking into the damp grass. You touch her again. I swear, what? You'll hit me? She taunted, eyes daring me. Lily moaned behind me, her monitor beeping frantically, blood sugar plummeting. Dad, she whispered, I can't see. My heart seized. Patricia rolled her eyes. Theatrics. Pathetic. I didn't speak. I moved like a force of nature. Patricia was still spitting venom when I grabbed her by the hair, yanking her off balance and slamming her against a cedar fence by our driveway. Her breath left in a shocked gasp, nails clawing at my arm. You hit my daughter. You destroyed her lifeline. You called her a liar. I was protecting the neighborhood, she shrieked. You assaulted child. My voice was ice, each were blade. I didn't strike her again. I drove her face into the fence, not with rage, but with purpose. Wood met skin with a dull thud. She collapsed, blood seeping from her lip, screaming, You're insane. No, Patricia, I said, you crossed the line. Lily's monitor wailed again, her body slumping. I had seconds. I grabbed Patricia's wrist, twisted it behind her, and used my belt to bind her hands, the leather biting into her skin. She thrashed, but I pinned her to the wet grass, her pristine robe now smeared with mud. You nearly killed her, I whispered, voice deadly. Justice doesn't forget. I dialed 911. This is Judge Daniel Carter. I've detained a suspect who assaulted my daughter, destroyed her medical equipment, and caused a medical emergency. Send police and an ambulance. Now, I carried Lily inside, her body limp in my arms, her lips bluer than before. I stabbed a backup insulin pen in her thigh, praying it wasn't too late. Outside, Patricia's voice rose, ragged and unhinged. He attacked me. That girl's faking. It's a setup. Sirens wailed as first responders arrived, 2 cruisers, 1 ambulance, tires screeching. Officer Nguyen and EMT Lopez rushed past. Where's the girl? Lopez asked. Inside. 16, diabetic, pump destroyed, emergency insulin given 3 minutes ago. He nodded and ran in. Patricia, half freed from the belt, screamed, face caked in dirt. They're criminals. She's a druggie. Nguyen stared at her, incredulous. You destroyed a medical device on a minor. She was faking. Patricia snapped. Lopez's voice cut through. Her blood sugar's at 290 and climbing. 10 more minutes. She'd be in DKA. You could have killed her. Patricia scoffed. Lies. It's a conspiracy. I stepped forward, voice like steel. Officer, I'm pressing charges assault, destruction of medical property, child endangerment. And if Lily doesn't make it, manslaughter. For weeks later, the King County Courthouse hummed with tension. Reporters swarmed, drawn by the headlines. Judge's daughter nearly dies in HOA attack. Patricia Langston sat at the defendant's table, defiant, her lawyer gone after she fired him, claiming he was in on the plot. She represented herself, a disaster waiting to unfold. Prosecutor Emily Voss laid out the charges: felony child endangerment, aggravated assault, destruction of medical equipment. Patricia stood, brushing her blazer. Your Honor, this was a community safety act. That girl's an addict, not diabetic. Voss didn't flinch. MS. Langston, are you saying attacking a documented diabetic was justified? Patricia smirked. I've seen withdrawal, twitching, confusion. She's no diabetic. Real ones are old, not teens with flair. The courtroom gasped. I stood. Your Honor, may I speak? The judge nodded. I faced Patricia. You tore a medical device from my daughter's body. You called her a junkie while she bled. You laughed as she nearly died. Patricia shrugged. Teach her not to fake illnesses. Voss played the surveillance footage. Patricia slapping Lily, crushing the pump, screaming about cleaning the street. The room fell silent. Patricia's smirk cracked, fear flickering in her eyes. Lily entered, her new pump gleaming, her voice steady as she spoke. I'm Lily Carter. I live with type 1 diabetes since I was 7. I've had seizures, collapsed, been hospitalized, but I manage it. You called me a liar, slapped me, destroyed my pump, and nearly killed me. But what hurt most? You didn't see me as human. Patricia scoffed. Rehearsed drama. Pathetic. I stood, teeth gritted. You broke her body and tried to break her spirit. You don't belong in society. The judge's verdict was swift, guilty on all counts. Patricia got 2 years in prison, 5 years probation, restitution for Lily's medical costs, 500 hours at a diabetes advocacy group, and a permanent ban from HOA roles. She shrieked as cuffs snapped on. This isn't over. She's faking. But the doors closed, and she was gone. 6 months later, Lily stood before 400 people at a Portland Health Summit, her pump visible, her voice unwavering. 6 months ago, someone called my illness a lie. They thought cruelty could erase my truth. They were wrong. Diabetes doesn't make me weak, it makes me a warrior. The crowd roared. But that night, a letter arrived, no return address. Patricia's jagged scrawl, "You didn't win. I see through you. You're a fraud." A note from the advocacy group followed. Patricia refused to work, mocked patients, and saw herself as the victim. She hadn't changed, but the world had. Our HOA banned medical-based harassment, schools updated diabetic protocols, and Lily joined a national youth speaker program. Her voice, once silenced, now echoed coast to coast. Patricia's cruelty didn't break Lily, it forged her. Ignorance, unchecked, becomes violence. Silence, permission. So, speak up. If someone shames your truth, remember this. Power belongs to the voice that won't be silenced. What would you have done in my place? Should I have held back, or was justice worth the cost? Have you faced someone like Patricia, who turned your truth into a lie? Share your story below, and if this moved you, subscribe, and hit the bell. Because justice doesn't always wear a robe, sometimes it's a father's belt, and sometimes it's a daughter's voice.